Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome yet again to another episode of Lunch Guide. I am your host Chef Andy, and today I've got something interesting for you all to see, learn and enjoy. We're going to be making a very simple chicken fried rice, and for that I've got some beautiful ingredients to aid me in doing so. So we're gonna go straight into introducing them, and I'll start from the very front where I have about 400 grams of chicken breast, and I've got just 3 colored peppers there and 1 small lime right at the front. I've also got some basmati rice and some black beans. I've also got some lemon juice, some soy sauce, some curry powder, some garam masala. I've also got some coriander, some paprika powder, some parsley, dried parsley. We've also got some string beans there. We've also got a bit of flour at the back and some beautiful peas here. A bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, a bit of some spring onion, red and white onion. And these are going to all go into a very simple and enjoyable dish. So we're gonna slide into a break now, and when we do come back, I'm going to take you through this very simple and enjoyous process. See you after a short while. Welcome back ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining in, we were just introducing the ingredients to a very simple chicken fried rice dish that I'm going to be showing you, and it's something you all can be able to make on a very short amount of time allocation, and fresh and best actually as soon as you're about to serve your lunch. So we're going to start off by doing some very simple things, which is always begin by preparing your ingredients. So we're going to start off by just cutting our chicken breast into strips. So I'm first of all just going to take that underlying flap off, and then I'm just going to proceed to cut it halfway lengthways, right through the middle like that. And all you're going to do now is just proceed to cut, let's just move that, proceed to cut your chicken diagonally into some nice beautiful strips that are actually going to allow you to cook it a little faster, and just proceed to do so until you get to the very end. And also very important to have a pot of oil going. As you can see, there's one pot right at the farthest end of the counter. I've got some oil heating up, which we're going to be using to fry our chicken. And we're actually going to be incorporating a bit of a Southern Asian theme to that dish as well. Of course, with the inclusion of soy sauce and lime juice and a couple of vegetables. So it's pretty much something that you can say is a technique borrowed from the Thai style of cooking. Right, so once your chicken is all cut, just reserve that on the plate, and just proceed to just clean your board. And of course, very important to always remember not to contaminate your ingredients. Always just proceed to turn your board around after cutting some meat. And also very importantly, also remember to rinse your hands. So next up, we're going to start by making our seasoned flour, which is basically what we're going to be using to coat our chicken. And to that, you will require about 3/4 cups of flour. You'll require some cayenne pepper as well, some curry powder, and just a little bit of your garam masala. And all you're going to proceed to do now is sift everything together and proceed to discard anything that remains. Now all you need to do, give your bowl a bit of a pat and a bit of a shake. That should actually aid you in mixing your ingredients together very easily. And now all you're left to do, very importantly, try to find maybe 2 pairs of tongs if you can find them. And if you can't, you can actually just find a spoon that could actually help you to just cook your chicken really, really easily. So we're going to just move the attention to this side of the top, the tabletop really quickly. And our oil is about hot enough now. So very simply, just grab your tongs and proceed to toss your chicken in the flour. Of course, making sure to always have a plate to just put your chicken pieces on right after you're done. And very importantly, always shake off any excess and just proceed to do the same for the rest of your pieces. Remember, always making sure to add your chicken in small amounts. This should actually help you to do it, to get the coating nice and even, and it will actually allow you from forming any lumpy kind of consistency when your chicken actually begins to stick together. So you can actually add about a tablespoon of chicken strips in sets. Or if you have a bigger bowl, you can actually also just dig your hands in there and just give it a nice sifting. But remember, it's always really good to use your kitchen utensils if you have them for this purpose. And plus, it always makes it a little easier on you, and it will actually limit you from excessively rinsing your hands while you're doing your cooking, and also save you some time. Right, so our oil is now nice and hot. And I'm just going to proceed to finish off those last bits of our chicken strips. And very, very importantly, also something to remember, you can actually work with self-raising flour or all-purpose flour when you're just coating your chicken. It doesn't really make a difference. But remember, if you are making a batter, very, very important that you do some research and find out how your batters relate to what you're going to be cooking, because the dusting does make quite a bit of a difference. And if you're also as well looking for a bit of a crunch to your chicken, you can actually also incorporate a bit of some bicarbonate of soda to your flour. It will actually give you quite a beautiful crispness to it. So just proceed to finish coating that. And remember, you can actually also marinate your chicken if you're looking for a more profound, powerful taste. And then just drain it before you fry it ahead of time. And then coat it just as we did, making sure, of course, not to over-season your flour and over-season your marination. And it should actually give you a nice, beautiful result. So our chicken's all coated now. So all we're left to do now, just grab a different pair of tongs, and into your oil proceed to add your chicken pieces. Of course, adding one at a time. And you can add your mixture in a third quantities, or even in halves, depending on your pot. And once you get about halfway, proceed to grab a spoon and just mix everything together. Of course, being very vigilant, of course, not to burn yourself. And you can now proceed to grab a plate, and of course some serviettes or some parchment paper if you have some. And just lay just a few sheets on there. Remember, the more you put, the more you can actually just soak out of it, so more oil you can soak out at one go. So what you want to do at this stage, you want to cook your chicken till it's crispy and very golden brown, of course. And just very importantly, remember the chicken strips do cook very, very quick in oil. So I would always recommend do create quite a bit of time when you're doing so, and always just allocate enough time just to finish the process, because you can actually just turn your eyes away and they will easily just overcook. Right, so the first batch is about done now. So we're just going to transfer those onto some parchment paper on the side here. And then also very, very good point I can share. Once you're done frying batches of ingredients, also very, very handy to actually always give your oil just a bit of time to reheat. Remember, as soon as you cook, your temperature will drop because your oil is being absorbed and the temperatures will drastically drop. So very important that you give your pan just a few seconds to come back to the heat so that you can actually be able to achieve the same consistency you had with the first batch. So this is now just bubbling and hot, ready to go. And just proceed to do the same as you did for the first. Once done, just discard the rest. And then once more, proceed to just give your mixture a small mix. Of course, this process is also very important as well, to always make sure to break up any of your chicken pieces that could have actually just attached themselves to each other. And now just proceed to allow that to continue cooking, and just give it just a few more minutes just to continue browning as well. But while that continues, we're also going to be preparing some ingredients which we're also going to be incorporating in our stir fry. But very importantly, we're going to start off by cooking our rice. So just grab a pan and just using a glass of water, just measure out about 1 cupful of water. And using another pan, just proceed to add that to your top and begin to reheat, pouring your water into the pot. And to that, add about a tablespoon of oil and just a tiny pinch of salt for seasoning. And now give that just a few minutes to come to the boil, of course with the lid on. Just allow that to proceed. And now come back to your chicken. And your second batch is almost done as well. So very, very simple. Just proceed to grab your plate once more. And if you possibly can as well, always move the first set that you cooked so that you actually don't pour a fresh set on top and allow that oil to drain onto all the chicken that you've been draining in the beginning. So just using the other side of your plate, proceed to remove your chicken and proceed to drain on the kitchen towel. And you can now give your chicken just a few minutes to begin to cool off. And now your oil is now done with. You can actually just turn off your top and just get rid of your oil. And next up, we're also going to be frying some ingredients which are going to be going into this dish. But before we proceed, we're going to start off by chopping some of them. And to that, we will be incorporating a bit of some white onion. So just proceed to peel that. And half a piece of some red onion as well. And all you need to do now, very importantly, especially if you're going to be frying ingredients in the same dish, I always find it easier to just grab a big plate and just place all my ingredients right next to each other. And this will actually make it a little easier for you to move them into the pan while you're actually trying to really fry up everything together. So begin firstly with chopping your onions into some half moons. Add those onto your plate and proceed once more to do the same thing for your beans, but this time having your beans all lined up on the board, almost about the same size. Cut into a third, into 3/3 of course. Move that onto your plate as well. Next up, grab a bit of your yellow pepper and get just a bit of each of your pieces. Of course, using as many colors as you possibly can. I particularly could manage to get all 3 colors, but remember, if you can't find all 3 colors in your regular outlets, if you can actually work with one, it won't make so much of a difference, other than the fact that the yellow and the red peppers have a bit of a sweetness to them, and it will actually maybe give your dish quite a bit of a difference in flavor. Alright, so proceed firstly to core the insides out, making sure to get rid of those white cores on the inside that really give your pepper quite a bitterness. And all you're going to do now is just cut those into some nice triangular chunks. Remember, beautiful presentation always entails a bit of some knife skills, and particularly that is achieved by always trying out different styles of chopping. And as you can see, you get a bit of those lengthy ones from the string beans, the half moons from the onions, and of course the chunks from the peppers. And last but not least, we're also going to have a bit of color from our beans and our peas. So just to bring your attention back to the pot of water we had going, our pot is now ready. So we're just going to proceed to add our rice, of course giving it a short quick mix, and just allow that to proceed to cook. And while that continues, just going to grab your attention this side. You can just switch those around. And we're going to go straight into frying up some of the ingredients we're going to be using for our stir fry. So foremost, add your oil and just allow your oil to start to come to the heat. Next up, grab a couple of your dried spices and of course all the condiments you're going to be frying up together. And just have them ready to go right next to your plate. We're also going to be incorporating a bit of some lemon juice and a bit of some soy sauce. So very simply, as soon as your pan is nice and hot, proceed with your first ingredient, which would be your onions. Get them nice and fragrant. So just toss that in your pan, give those just a few seconds to sweat out. And to that, proceed to add your garam masala and your dried parsley. Now proceed to just toss that together, giving it a nice thorough mix. You can actually just do that by hand as well, doesn't really make the difference. And just use a spoon to just break up your onions. And next up, proceed to add your green beans and a little more oil. Remember, oil actually also really helps to sustain a bit of flavor in your pan. Oil also gives your veggies a nice beautiful color as well. To that, season slightly with a bit of some salt and some black pepper. And just proceed to toss that, mixing everything together once more. And once done, proceed to add your peppers, your peas, and last but not least, some of your black beans. And just proceed to toss your pan, mixing everything together once more. Of course, now with your pan at high heat, proceed to just allow your vegetables just to slide lightly to one side of the pan, and to that you'll add your lemon juice and your soy sauce. Just proceed to mix everything together. Right, allow your veggies to continue cooking at high heat and proceed to check on your rice. And now at this stage your rice should be about al dente, it should actually be about halfway cooked. Proceed to remove from the pan and just add it straight into your stir fry. And just proceed to spoon everything into your pan. Once more proceeding to mix everything together. Give it a nice thorough mix. Take your time while doing so. Remember, it will actually give you the advantage of getting all your ingredients mixed in well. Last but not least, a little more pepper just to uplift your flavors. Small pinch of salt as well, just for taste. Proceed to toss once more. And now proceed to lower your heat to the lowest temperature and just allow your pan to sit in there for anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes. And while it does so, we're just going to proceed to add our chicken into the bowl now that it's cooled. Toss your rice or mix through once more and proceed to turn off your heat. And now just give your mixture just a few seconds to just rest in the pan. And then right after that, just pour your mixture out into a bowl and just spoon everything in. And now all you need to do is give your ingredients just a bit of time to cool off and then mix that together, and that is as simple as it gets. But before we get to the last and final step where I show you some tips and tricks, I'm also going to allow you to take a break as well and freshen up. And when we do come back, I'm going to take you through the last and final journey of plating your beautiful chicken stir-fried rice. See you after the short break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We were just doing our very simple chicken fried rice, and we're now just about to plate it. So we're just about at the last stage. Now remember, in the rice, as we mentioned earlier, very important that you actually give it time to cool off, give it a bit of time to actually just develop the flavors, and then just continue just to add your chicken right at the end, and then proceed to just mix everything together. And once done, give it a nice thorough mixing. Add a bit of pepper and just mix that once more. And now you're just ready to serve. So just grab your plate, and just as usual, just start by plating right at the center of your plate, and continue to build your dish as you come right to the top. Of course, making sure to incorporate all the ingredients as you continue mixing up your yellow and red peppers, and also giving a nice generous portion of chicken as well. And you can just finish that with a bit of garnish. So just get a few sprigs of some fresh coriander. Just lightly place those right over the top. And just to complement the dish, of course, being that chives works very, very well with the spices that went into everything we had in the dish, just finish by finely chopping some chives. And just lightly sprinkle those right over the top of your dish, and your southern chicken fry is as simple as that. So thank you so much for tuning in once more. I hope you've managed to pick up something on the dish today. And as we always remind you on the show, we're always looking forward to getting some feedback from all of you. So do always just have a feedback routine. We'd really appreciate it. Also check out our Facebook page, plenty to see. Leave your comments, inquiries, or any questions pertaining the show, and we'll be very much entitled to get back to you. So thank you so much once again, and until the next episode, have a lovely lunch and see you soon.